just a moment here.
Hey,
How are you feeling today?
I'm really excited.
You are?
It's exhilarating. But it's been like a range of emotions. It's crazy.
Yes, a range of emotions. So we are live now here on Facebook. Welcome back to Inspired Impact TV. I am here with the amazing Carla Pascoe, and we are just talking about the exhilarating feelings, which I really want to dive into a little bit because people want to know, like, what is going on behind the scenes, right? Like, what is actually, they see like these interviews and these posts and like fancy books with snowmen around them.
Right, right.
All
Well,
like, yeah.
it's a whole range of things. And I don't think there's anything that would fully prepare us for this day. I know you tried to prepare us, but it's been like a little manic, like trying to keep up with, what's happening for other people and the excitement for them. And then
Yes.
trying to keep, my friends and family, updated so they can take part in the journey as well. But it's just kind of a, you know, over the moon feeling.
So, how Carla just described her launch day experience is a beautiful segue for me to introduce her officially to you because this is a beautiful woman who has an enormous heart. The first time I spoke to Carla, she was sharing with me about her personal story, which I'm going to let her get into in a little bit. It is just like, woo, one of those stories that is just blows you away, warms your heart. You pull so many nuggets of information out of it. It's like just all of the things, really. And I'm going to let you get into that. But what really came through, Carla, was your essence in that first conversation of how deeply you care for people. I mean, you are on the front line right now during COVID for us, right? Like, you care for people. You do it in your professional career. You do it in your life and all of the choices that you've made. And you were starting to talk about being a leader. And I was like, yes, this person is somebody that I would follow, right? And you talked about being a leader in your own life, right? And I went, tell me more about that. And sometimes when I ask people, tell me more about that, yeah, I don't always get like, the clearest answer, or I have to dig a little bit. Nope, not with you. You were like, okay, boom, 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 and boom. Like, it was all so succinct. Like, you knew exactly what you meant by that, and you knew exactly how to convey that to other people so that they could follow a system, they could follow a plan, they could follow these lessons and teachings that had worked so well in your own life, Carla, to truly transform where you were to the life that you always wanted to create. And that, to me, Carla, was just it brings me like to tears thinking about it, really, truly. So I would officially like to welcome my dear friend Carla Pascoe. And Carla, would you please kick us off? Welcome, and please kick us off to sharing with our audience here a little bit about your chapter and what inspired you to want to share this story.
Okay. Well, thank you for that lovely introduction. I really appreciate that. And I do think, I know from talking to you initially and preparing to write my story, I think I just felt so ready because when I actually had a conversation about what the process would be, and then, I get off the phone with you and I sat down and wrote my chapter in one sitting. And I didn't know that that's not really how it happens for most people. But I think that I was so ready to share things that might help other people. And the interesting part too was I wrote my chapter when we were going through our first surge for COVID, and I'm a nursing leader. And this is a challenging year to be in healthcare, to be a healthcare leader, to be on the front line. It's just it's nothing that anyone was prepared for. So I wrote my chapter in that one sitting when we were in our first surge. And now we are, right in the middle of our second surge. So for the book to be launched. So it's just been really interesting that the timing of some of those things coming together.
Right.
But I think for me, what compelled me to want to share, to be part of this collection of stories, which has been such an amazing journey, is really to give people some hope. And, when I think back, my story starts with my childhood dream. And it may surprise most people to know that only about as few as 10% of people actually fulfill their childhood dreams. And so for me, it was my dream was always really to be a mom. I really never planned to be a nurse. I just sort of fell into that because I didn't have any other options. But my dream, my passion, my everything that I wanted was to have children. And so my journey did not happen the way that I thought it would, the way that I felt like I had orchestrated it. And so I found myself going through a very painful divorce when I was in my late 30s and feeling like I had lost the opportunity to be a mom. And wasn't sure that that was ever going to happen for me. And at the same time, my mom, she had a remission of her cancer and was given like a 3-month prognosis. So I was dealing with a broken heart on one hand, and then my mom's impending death. And I brought her to my home to take care of her, which really ended up she only had 1 month to live. So we made the very best use of that time. But I remember she wanted my life to be all packaged and the way that I wanted it when she was passing. And, I had to figure out how was I going to pull myself together to sort of live the life that I wanted. And it took a lot of time to really sort through all of that heartache and how can you get through it and really then go on to have what you want. So that's what my story is about, is just those strategies that I use, the steps that I took to kind of get my life back on track, and that it's really doable for people, even when you feel at that lowest point that it's not possible. It really is.
So now I'm curious. Tell me, I need to know now. What are some of those strategies, right? I mean, that was a big thing you just shared with us, right? Like this is, you're at the lowest point in your life. You have a tragedy, happening right before your eyes, and a devastating loss. And yet you're sharing through this that want to pick up the pieces and get your life in a certain order and fulfill dreams. And like, these are two very different, like, pictures that we're painting, right? So how do we merge these? Where's the bridge? Can you build me a bridge between the pain and really the purpose, right, of your life? And how do I get here in the strategies that you use, Carla, and how you begin to transform things?
Okay. Well, and just sitting down to talk with you, I just looked down at my card that I have, on my desk, and I had not read it recently, but this is really the starting point. But it says, when I'm grateful for what I have, I can feel good along the way to what I desire.
Amazing.
And so for me, I think, starting with gratitude, it just felt like the easiest place to start, even though it wasn't always easy, but trying to, at the end of every day, journal a little bit about what I was grateful for. It helped me to move on from the heaviness, the sadness,
Mm.
the hopelessness that you feel when you're going through all of those life events that really impact you. So some days it was really easy to come up with 3 things, other days it wasn't. And, I tell people this because it's so true. Is, I had 2 dogs at the time, and, they just helped me get through so much of my grief. But some days I had to list them separately in order to come up with 3 things so that they were counted as 2. That's how low I felt some days. But, it was really just kind of, that was a building block for me, that at least each day I had to sit in gratitude. And because you can't hold negative feelings when you have a grateful heart. and when you live in gratitude. And so I knew that I was going to be able to let go of all of the negativity that I was feeling or the hopelessness, because if I tried to fill that up with gratitude, there wasn't space for both. So that was the first step.
So I just want to make sure that everybody picks this up. This is a pearl of wisdom that Carla just dropped, and it's going to be really important as a major takeaway. I know that there's going to be many takeaways from this conversation, but that one was really important. What Carla just said is that you cannot hold two opposing thoughts in your mind at one time. Okay. So Carla said that what she used and what she chose was gratitude. Right. So you hear people say this in different ways. Some people say always choose love, always lead with love, or whatever it is. Right. Carla's saying she chose gratitude as her lifeline to hang on to. And when you hold gratitude in your mind, and when you're making your gratitude list at night, right? When you're really embracing the feelings of what you're grateful for, regardless of what that is, listing your pets separately, right? Like we can kind of chuckle about it now, but it's like, that was a real thing for you at that time. Like that was like, nope, like I'm committed to this. I'm going to do my 3 things, but I'm really having I'm really struggling here to get to number 3. But you did it. You did it, number 1. Number 2, you probably didn't know at that time how important it was, but holding that gratitude, and the longer you can hold it and the more you can embody those feelings, right, Carla? This is what I'm imagining for you. It was like all of a sudden it was like it started to build that muscle little by little by little by little, and then you can't hold the pain and the gratitude at once. So in the moments you were holding the gratitude, all of a sudden you started to see light. You started to see a little bit of hope because the pain went away just long enough. Is this what I'm interpreting from what you're saying?
For sure. And it becomes more expansive. I think the more that you do it, just like you said, using that muscle, and as you live in that and sit in that, then it's easier to get there a little bit each day. And it's something that I still do. When I go to sleep at night, I, pause and express gratitude for at least 3 things. Usually my list is much longer, but that's how I try to end my day. But I do think it sort of expands possibilities for you, and the thought of there's hope and possibility.
I love the expansion. Yes, yes, yes. Your chapter is all about expansion. Your chapter is about being resilient, having grit through those times, right? But tell me how, because really I do look at you, Carla, as such a beautiful leader, right? Like you are the best kind of leader, in my opinion. You have a beautiful heart. You have a beautiful soul. You talk about purpose. You talk about, really kind of bringing, what in my language I describe as your unique brilliance into the world, right? So tell me, how do we tie all of this together? How do we tie together grit and resilience and gratitude, right? And all of what you're talking about into this idea of leadership?
I think what struck me at the time when I was going through all this was really that when I became a nursing leader, and being a nursing leader, it's so important to empower your team, because you really want them to feel as empowered as possible so that they're advocating for their patients and families in the best way that they can. And certainly being a pediatric nurse, children can't advocate for themselves. So, as a nurse, you really want to make sure that you're advocating for that child. And so, but I realized that I advocated for my team and for my patients when I was at the bedside, but I wasn't doing it for myself. And I thought, how can I be a leader, leading by example and being a mentor and a role model when I'm not caring for myself in the same way that I'm caring for others? And so that, I think, is when I had to really just, take a few steps back and look internally and what I needed to do to empower myself to really step up to have the life that I wanted. And rather than trying to mold other people into the life and the future that I wanted, how was I going to create it for myself? And that it really was up to me, and the choices that you make every day is what you have to take responsibility for.
So Share with us, where did that leave you? Where are you today? What did these teachings that you're offering us today, and the beautiful lessons that you're describing to us, where has that led you to in your life today?
Well, I think, along, kind of the leadership track, very accustomed to establishing goals and action plans for my team or my department, but I didn't do it for myself. So I really started with, what was it that I wanted in life? How was I going to get there? What was I going to do to improve myself along the way? And I think as, I took charge of that for me, then things started to unfold. And, I actually, I met someone not long after that. I think once you open your heart to possibilities again is when you are able to really attract other people and what it is that you want into your life. So I met my current husband, Andrew, and, we wanted the same things. We wanted to start a family. But, I was like in my late 30s. I thought, oh, is this going to happen for me? And, I just knew that it would. I wasn't sure how or when, or even if it would be the traditional way. But we were fortunate enough to have two girls, and they're just about to have their 16th and 18th birthday. So, exciting time, to see them, growing into such lovely women, and, and being so proud to be their mother. And it's, the things that happened along the way in my life, and this is what I would want other people to know, is it may not happen the way that you want it to. The path is not always straight. There are ups and downs along the way, detours, things that you're not prepared for. But I think if you really take charge of yourself and what you want, and you just continue to put one foot in front of the other, you can have exactly what you want. And I was, fortunate and blessed to have that. I became a mother for the first time when I was 40, and this was, obviously 18 years ago, and that's was not really common then. I mean, I think it's much more common now, but to know that really at the time I got pregnant with her, it was a 5% chance that I would get pregnant without any assistance and on my own. And so, she's like my 5% miracle.
So we have not, you are like the buster of all statistics, right? So 10% of I love this, right? 10% of the childhood dreams come true, right? But what you're doing is you are saying, I am going to choose to co-create. I'm going to choose to take charge of my own life. I am going to choose to control what I can control. There's so much we all can control right now.
Right.
There's so much we all can control right now. And that can become overwhelming. That can become a little suffocating. It can feel paralyzing for a lot of people when we concentrate on all of the things in the world that we cannot control, right? However, what Carla's offering us today, and what she also offers us in her chapter as well, is the opportunity to say, let me take a look at what I can control. And then if I start to look at what I can control, here is the step-by-step system. Remember, I said just in the very beginning in our first conversation, I said, what does that mean to you to be the leader in your own life? And she said, this is exactly what it means. Right? Like system, right? This is what it is. And her chapter is the exact same way. Carla's chapter, the way she writes it, it's so it's such a, how do I put this, right? So it's like not systematic in the way, but it's so easy for me to follow and connect with, as far as like, I believe I can do that too, right? Because you just have such a beautiful way of connecting with people. And so we can concentrate on what we can control, right? We can use the steps that you've offered us today to begin to put a plan into place, right? And after I read your story, I truly believe that it really is possible for myself. So what you're giving us today, Carla, is the connection, the inspiration, and the plan to be able to put in place to do so, right? To take those next steps. And all of those things combined really is your pathway to success. It is your pathway to success in whatever that means for you. So Carla, how do I get into your world? How do I learn more about you? How do I connect with you? Can you offer that to us today?
Sure. And I mean, I would say that is certainly my hope for people that they, you know, read not only my story, but the other stories and connect with it and know that, you know, they too can move forward and have the life that they want. So probably the best way is on my website, which is carlapascoe.com. And then there are other information there about how to connect with me. And I hope everyone gets a copy of the book because there's so many amazing authors, and there is no doubt that there's a story that you would connect with and be able to really inspire, and give you some hope. And it's such a challenging year for many people and for many different reasons. And I think just having this book at this time is just wonderful. So thank you so much, Kate, for the opportunity. It's been a true joy.
I'm so grateful that you were on this journey, Carla, since the very, very first phone call. It really has just been my honor. Isn't she the best, everyone? She's the best. Connect with Carla. Seriously, I just adore you. I absolutely adore you. So connect with Carla. Check her out on the medias. Check her out on her page. All the information is there on her website. Thank you so much for being here today, Carla. And thank you, everyone, so much. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.